Kirby talked post-game about this team wanting to do something that last year's team could not do.
Same one.
And they did it tonight. Your Georgia Bulldogs are the 2022 SEC champions, and it feels really good. 13-0, headed to the college football playoff as the number 1 seed. We've got a lot to discuss on this podcast, and it's going to be a good time. Stick around, and we'll be right back.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Daniel, we are right back. Here we are, back again, SEC champs.
I'm sorry, what? I didn't hear you.
SEC
I didn't
champs.
hear you. Thought that video was still going on. I thought that, it cues right up when we're ready to cue into it. It's
very
right
responsive, Daniel.
It is.
Very responsive. We are the 2022 SEC champs after we absolutely, abjectly steamrolled LSU to an embarrassing fashion. Brian Kelly, little lesson for you. Don't screw with Kirby again.
Nope.
He will come after your throat, and he has lockjaw. So that's on you, man. That's not on us, okay? Hey, today we are going to do instant reaction to the game. We're going to talk about some highlights on offense, highlights on defense. Those are the 3 segments. So, Daniel, let's just start there. This team did the thing.
We're doing positive vibes only. I just want to set that standard. We're doing positive vibes only. And listen, Clint, I'm not even gonna get into it with you. We're doing positive vibes only. We have got 28 days.
Yes.
Okay, to discuss this team. Okay. When we get an opponent assigned to us tomorrow, we have a long time to talk about
Daniel,
what this team needs to improve.
You just set the standard in which half our listeners are piecing out because you said positive vibes and
hey, you know what? If you don't want positive vibes after winning the SEC,
you're
probably the guy that was screaming bench Stetson Bennett at halftime because he only had 4 touchdown passes in the first half instead of 5 touchdown passes in the first half.
All right. So yes, we will. And on that note, for the weekly schedule tomorrow. Comes out, the playoff brackets will be announced. And
we'll be back tomorrow night.
We're going to be back tomorrow night talking about first look ahead of those brackets and what it looks like for Georgia. But Daniel, SEC championship game is wrapped up. The defense, for all intents and purposes, Daniel, I know that, on the board, it looks like a lot of points against LSU.
It's a lot of points. It's a lot of yards.
I understand that.
Okay.
But you want to talk about let's talk about guys that showed out because this offense showed out in a big deal. And typically we start offense. I want to start defense because let me say it again from the top of every roof, from every mountain. There's nothing high enough, no valley low enough that's going to make me not get to this. Okay.
Do I need to get a hanky? Start waving it.
You wave whatever. You know what? Not whatever clothing item you want. That I'm not going to say that, but hankies are appropriate. Jalen Carter is the most dominant football player in America.
Yeah. Okay. That is a statement that cannot be refuted.
Okay. It cannot. If you are refuting it, you are an Alabama homer. You are Gary Danielson.
So you said the same group.
The same.
Two become one.
Look, we're more. Wow, we just got a whole theme going here today. Look, Jalen Carter is the most impressive defensive player ever on the face of the planet. He single-handedly swats people with one limb, one arm, taking grown men out, hoisting them up, showing off, flexing on them, something I've never seen before. Daniel, we texted back and forth. When asked who he is like, Kirby has said he's like no one.
That's correct.
He's one of one, Daniel.
He cannot be blocked. And when Jalen Carter is healthy, it changes everything about your offensive game plan. It changes everything about your offensive game plan when you play this Georgia team. He is a wrecking ball. He is just a one-man havoc play. He shut down that fourth down. I thought the play of the game for the defense was the 4th and 1. He busts in there, makes a shoestring tackle after destroying his man on the line of scrimmage. I thought this defensive front as a whole played incredibly well today. Had to deal with mobile quarterback and then backup quarterback in the game. I'm not sure if you know this. Georgia fans might be familiar, but when a backup quarterback comes in the game, sometimes it can be difficult because the game plan's not been for them. So sometimes things can go. Georgia had a lot to deal with on that
Positive
front
vibes
in the game.
Positive vibes.
And I thought this defensive front as a whole absolutely whipped. The LSU offensive line was overmatched. They were overmatched coming into this game.
That left tackle for
two freshman tackles. Yeah. Two freshman tackles.
But
just
in particular, the right tackle was embarrassed. And it wasn't even actually his fault. He got put in position. They should have chipped. They should have running backs back there. That was actually Brian Kelly's fault.
Mikel played great. Brinson played great. Zion Logue played great. Jalen Carter played great. Robert Beal played great. I could go on and on.
Oh my gosh, that front seven was the difference maker of this game, Daniel, because no negative vibes, so positive vibes only. They were the thing on defense that carried us the entire time.
Not to mention they scored the first touchdown of the game on the blocked field goal. That's a defensive line made that play. That they're the guys that I don't know who it was specifically that got it, but that's a defensive lineman that gets in there and makes that play. The defensive front, I thought, was the MVP of the game early, certainly, and helped control the game as it went on. But Clint, Georgia's offense was really the story. The 50 burger, the 50 piece, if you will, a little 50-cent item here that we
pouring them out. We getting
we might have to. Stetson Bennett, unbelievable performance. Offensive line, unbelievable performance.
I could tell within the first two throws, Stetson was going to be Stetson of old in this game, Daniel.
He was, and I don't mean to oversimplify things, but when Brock is involved early, the game feels different, doesn't it? And
It does, Daniel. It does. It means that, again, we are on rhythm because there are a few plays, like that little leak out play that Brock does where all the motion goes one way, the motion comes back the other way, step boots and finds Brock in the flat for we need 3, 4, or 5 yards, something like that, and Brock gets it very easily because he's Brock Bowers. When those plays are happening, those are set up for him. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, later on in the game, we're going to have something for Big O on that touchdown that was down the middle that you could just see right away. But Stetson was slinging it early. Laser throws when he needed to be. Touch when he needed to be. Nothing overthrown. There was that one underthrown on the screen coming out of half that people were very, very upset about, myself included. But other than that, Daniel, he was on point and on mission and on time, and the whole system was at his disposal.
He's a rhythm quarterback. Stetson Bennett is a rhythm quarterback. When he gets a few under his belt, which is, again, why I love going to Brock Bowers early, because as you said, there are set calls that he's got. There are plays that he's the absolute feature guy on. And doesn't it just feel like in a big game that Todd Monken knows where the bread is buttered? He knows where to go to get what he needs. And Georgia came out first series trying to establish the run game, and then LSU's offense was moving the ball on back-to-back drives. They had the field goal blocked that resulted in a Georgia touchdown, but they moved the ball all the way down the field. Then they moved the ball all the way down the field again, scored a touchdown, and it's like Todd Monken said, we may have to score some points to win this game. Okay, and then from that point on, that offense got ripping, and they did not look back. We're going to talk more about the playmakers. We're going to talk about the wide receivers that had big days. A.D. Mitchell was back in this game. The running backs, I thought, played really well, and the offensive line, I think, the unsung hero MVP of the game. We're going to talk extensively about that, but first, I want to let you know about this.
Omaha Steaks, Daniel, is that time of season in which you just go ahead and you order your boys up some Omaha Steaks. we'll just take them. I will take them.
We just now using this ad read as a shameless plug to say, hey, look, maybe that parlay didn't hit. Maybe you're not going to get the SoFi tickets. But maybe just get a few Omaha Steaks.
Go down the token
system.
list. Okay, it is a tier system. Omaha Steaks is fantastic. They're the oldest butcher in America, 1917. They are convenient. They have air-chilled, boneless chicken fillets, ultra-juicy burgers, everything that you want to make your holiday season a great one for friends and families, members that you loved. Right now, get Omaha Steaks delivered to your door or to somebody else's door. Fast, convenient, and right now, 30% off with your order and promo code Locked On. That's promo code Locked On, 30% off. Minimum order may be required.
All right, Clint, let's talk about this offensive line.
This is where we need to start. You said unsung hero.
Yep.
I watched, because Daniel, we were scared about a defensive end in the SEC championship game coming in for LSU, number 40. We were thinking, oh no, he's going to wreck some things.
This may be the best defensive lineman Georgia plays for the rest of the season.
It will be. I can unequivocally say, Daniel. And
how'd he do?
He did nothing. Daniel,
nothing. How many times Stetson sacked in this game?
Nothing.
No times. How many times Stetson how much time Stetson hit without a 15-yard penalty attached to it?
Nothing.
No times. That's interesting.
Yeah.
How many times running backs get tackled in the backfield for a loss?
I think one time on a goal line because it was an outside, weird, slow attack. That was it.
This offensive line play, McClendon obviously goes down, and we hope he's, listen, don't know. We're recording this minutes after the game ends, and so we don't know, obviously, anything about Warren McClendon. Hopefully he's back. However, we do know about Amarius Mims. Do we know about Amarius Mims?
I had some observational. I had some data points, Daniel.
Little eye data. We got a little data point here.
And let me tell you what the data. I worked it up in the machine.
Okay, you plugged it right into the Scantron. Yeah.
And what popped out was he's elite.
He's good. No, he's good. Yeah, no, he's good. Broderick Jones, best left tackle in the SEC.
0 pressure, 0 sacks, huge grade, best tackle in the SEC. Correct.
And then I think it's about time, Clint. It's been a long season. You got that?
Get there?
You got the cue? You got the cue here?
I'll get the cue. I'll get the cue for it.
All right. It's been a long time. But Xavier Truss, Clint and I, we're sorry. We're sorry about all the slander. We're sorry that we said we didn't want you starting on this offensive line.
I said that.
Because Xavier Truss has turned into a very, very good SEC guard, Clint.
Yes.
He and Tate Ratledge are taking care of business. Cedric Van Pran, we know what he is in the middle. He's just fine.
SVP is the centerpiece, the anchor point.
But Xavier Truss has really put it together, Clint. And
he's not a liability
offensive
anymore.
line is gelling at just the right time.
This game, Daniel, thank you. The gelling aspect, we've said this all season. You've said this all season. It's not individual performances, which are outstanding at times. When you have a group like the offensive line, when you have schemes like this, the whole unit is graded out together. So you can have one guy play well. You can have a highly graded right tackle and get whipped on the offensive line all game long.
Yep.
That is not the case with this Georgia team.
Not the case,
Daniel.
It's not, because if that is the case, any defensive coordinator worth his salt is just going to move number 40 from that side to the other side.
That's it.
But there's nowhere to move him in this unit. There's nowhere to put your elite playmakers. They're pushing people off the ball in the run game, which we're going to talk about the backs in a second. We may have to cue up that music for a second time. But we're going to talk about the backs in a second. But this offensive line, to give up 0 quarterback sacks, to give up 0 hits on the quarterback, 0 legal hits on the quarterback, it was a beautiful performance from an absolutely underrated group, and a group that, quite frankly, underperformed early in the season if you watch Georgia football. But kudos to them. Kudos to the staff, to Coach Searles. Kudos to these players for continuing to buy in and continuing to work, because they are coming together at the right time. And I'm telling you, if you let your boy Stetson Bennett just sit back there in the pocket, he told you he's pretty good at playing quarterback.
It turns out he has elite weapons everywhere. He's an elite weapon.
He got an elite weapon attached right here, Clint.
To his body.
He got one right on that right shoulder.
No, it's insane. You give him space, you give him time. Daniel, this offensive line, I'm also going to include in it because we've talked already about Big O and Brock.
Yeah.
But Daniel, when they are on the same side and they're crashing down, okay? So like again, if there's any sort of power game, any sort of counter game, which Georgia has run a lot this year, by the way, we've run a lot of zone as well. And I'm not a huge fan of the zone for this particular group of backs. I am a large fan of counter and power with this group of backs.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get Brock and Big O on one side and you're running counter,
that's
and
a power play without having to pull anybody, Clint. That's what that is. It's you don't have to pull anybody, and all of a sudden you're running power.
And yet they still do. Daniel,
yeah,
they got those.
That's right.
And it is a complete washout, Daniel.
It is a freaking Niagara Falls coming down. Big O is washing people out of the play every single time. He may be the best blocking weapon that I have seen in college football in my lifetime.
Hines Ward is right now no longer using film of himself on how to block on the perimeter.
It's because he's got so much athleticism. He's got so much speed, Clint. But he also has a size that Hines Ward could not even sniff at.
No.
He is everything that you need, but none of that is what makes him a great blocker.
Nope.
Clint.
What is that?
It's his willingness.
There it is.
To get in there. It's the way he loves it, Clint. On that last touchdown.
Loves it. Yes. Uh-huh.
He came in and that defensive back never saw it. He came in and he tried to bring everything. They'd already gone low and gotten a 15-yard penalty on Big O. And this DB came in there and he tried to bring the wood to Darnell Washington, and he just got smoked. And Darnell just stands there in the end zone looking down at this guy while the teammates are celebrating the touchdown. He doesn't need to be involved in the celebration, Clint. For him, the celebration is just destroying a man in the end zone who was trying to make a tackle.
And this is what I find so hilarious about people, Georgia fan, talking about how they need Big O and Big O's going to become upset. Guys like him need the ball and need the stats and need – Big O does not need it. I guarantee you. What he cares about is being on the field and taking the soul of another human being. That's what he cares about.
We've said it before on this podcast, but it's important to repeat yourself on matters that are important, I've learned. Are NFL executives and scouts, are they watching these games, Clint? Do they watch?
They watch these games not only once or twice or three times, but dozens of times. And
now, do they watch the TV footage or do they watch the all 22s?
No, they got the all 20. They got this wide angle, back in the end zone side. They got
follow-up question.
Okay.
Do they just watch the person who has the ball or do they watch other people as well?
Seldom. Most often they have a script with them, the coach, if they are on good word with him, like Kirby does, because he welcomes these guys into it. He'll give them the script, the play call sheet that's happening, so they know where the play is going. They know the end result already, Daniel.
We've said it over and over and over again. Darnell Washington is making every dollar that he will ever need for the rest of his life this year not catching the ball. So,
correct.
Georgia fans, you may be upset that he's not catching the ball.
Sure.
But I promise you he's not upset.
He don't care one bit.
He got a touchdown today, and that's great. We love to see that. But he's going to be just fine in his present because his team is 13-0 and SEC champions and the number one seed in the playoff. And he's going to be just fine in his future because NFL GMs see that and they're like, now imagine what it would be like if our elite quarterback threw him the ball sometimes. They see that and they just say, oh, this guy's got untapped potential even above and beyond what he puts on tape. Darnell Washington's just.
It's a freak. So, by the way, really quick hitters before we go to break and then we come back and we probably talk about the running backs.
Okay.
Dom Blaylock, there's a clear pecking order in this wide receiver room. There are some elite guys. There's some play calls for him. And then there's some other guys who get the ball because they happen to have the second or third read on that. Mm-hmm. That is very true. Dom Blaylock and Kyrus Jackson are those two that come down after the fact. And yet they balled out with it. They made very important possession receptions, first down receptions, yards after catch, 2 in a row for Kyrus. It was beautiful.
There's a
Daniel.
clear pecking order of wide receivers in my heart, and Don Blaylock is at the top of it. I love this guy.
I love Don Blaylock. I was so happy to see him get back
Kyrus
on
Jackson,
the field.
same way. I was happy Dylan Bell got himself a touchdown. He's been sometimes he was used kind of frequently early in the season. Has with the emergence, not emergence really, but with the improved performance, I'll say, of Rosemary Jackson and guys like Don Blaylock getting back healthy. Dylan Bell has not been used as much, but still a really important weapon on this team. Love to see him getting touches, and love to see A.D. Mitchell back out there. Clint.
Hey,
Didn't have a catch. They tried to go to him on the A.D. Mitchell goal line play, which that is the play.
It's the play. Yep.
That's the reason Georgia was struggling on the goal line. That play is the reason that there wasn't a lot of goal line success, because they did not have a dude that could put his foot in the ground and get outside. Now, he slipped and he fell, and so the play did not net a touchdown. They ran the other touchdown play to the other side on the next play and scored. But it was good to see A.D. Mitchell not just out there and not just throwing a pass on a trick play 2-point conversion to hang Fitty. But it was good to see A.D. Mitchell being utilized in a route like that, which is a high-impact route on the lower body, Clint. That's a lot of braking and movement, sudden change movement.
The inertia heading one way and then needing to go the exact opposite way within split seconds.
So though the play did not convert, I'll just tell you, Georgia fans, that made me very excited, that play right there, because it told me a lot about his health.
Yep.
And it told me a lot about his availability 28 days from now moving forward when we need him again.
We're going to come back after this. But first, I want to talk about Simply Safe. Simply Safe. Daniel, we want to keep things safe in our lives, things that we love and cherish. And Simply Safe is the way to do that. Home, personal items, everything that you have that you really, really care about and want to keep going. Simply
let's say something really valuable for you. It's positive vibes only on the podcast, but this is the ad read. Let's say something really valuable is just laying on the ground right in front of you. Let's say it was just sitting there right in front of you. Would you, A, turn and run the other direction? Or would you, B,
jump on it
jump on top of it? Or would you, C, get the most reliable home security that you could get in order to protect that thing?
My man out here doing professional things. I would choose C, Daniel. Simply Safe would be the way to protect that thing that is on the ground, the thing that is at all costs. And right now, Simply Safe can get 40% off this incredible at-home 24/7 monitoring system. Best security, third year in a row rated Simply Safe. 40% off right now at simplysafe.com/locked-on. That's simplysafe.com/locked-on for 40% off.
Clint, it's the third segment, and third segment listeners are here. It's only third segment listeners left.
Look, let's get in close.
Let's all huddle up.
We're taping this. We're doing this thing, and right now Michigan is playing. And do you know who was on doing
this?
An interview?
Is exactly where I was going to go at the beginning of the third segment, Clint. We did not talk about this.
No, there was no pre-production.
This is exactly what I was just about to say.
On our TV at halftime on Fox, because he already sent his agent, Gary, on CBS to talk him up, is Nicky Boy, Nick Saban, talking about how he deserves to be in the playoff, Daniel.
I mean, Clint. What if I told you that Nick Saban, led his team to a 10-2 record?
Here we go.
And is now lobbying to get into the playoff, even though he's probably going to be one spot left out. And again, I'm speaking of Mark Richt. I'm sorry, no, I meant Nick Saban. That's who I'm talking about.
Oh, no, Daniel. See, this is when we told y'all we're the new standard. We got a man out here selling his soul. Again, he's already sold it many times. That thing's on loan to about 10 different loan sharks. Okay. But now
Deion Sanders owns quite a substantial piece of it these days.
Don't even get me started on Deion Sanders, because all y'all Jackson State, you should be pissed at Deion Sanders for all the talk he said about love and heart and family and just using y'all to get a better, I can't even with that. That just makes me so mad. He should stay at Jackson State. Anyway, my man out here just please put me into the playoff. Please. This is like Daniel, I saw this one
It's
time
like
in
a
my life.
pathetic guy for whom college football has passed him by is trying to scratch and claw at relevance in the last possible season that he
Scrap
might
of
have a team worthy of the college football
Y'all know
playoff.
that y'all know that next year the quarterback he has coming in is awful.
Oh, did you
right?
see the quarterback he's got backing up Bryce right now?
That's-
Did you see him coming in there?
That's what I mean. That's who he.
No, we've seen it. It's not a speculation that he's awful.
No, look, guys, I saw this in high school when people were trying to get your votes for class president
Oh, okay.
and would promise you the Coke machine. Daniel?
No more homework. I'm going to outlaw homework. Nick Saban is on Fox right now. Go back and watch the tape. It's muted on my TV, but I can read his lips. Nick Saban's on Fox right now telling if you put me into the college football playoff, I will outlaw homework
This
forever.
is where we're at. Okay. That's disgusting and sick and horrible. Not our coach.
Hey, and
our
guess
coach.
And guess what?
What's that?
It's not going to work.
It ain't going to happen, brother.
No. And guess what? We would love it if it did.
All of you Bama fans that
Please.
think we're scared, I'm here telling you the reason I'm talking a big game.
Please
When you
get
say,
into the
would you
playoff.
rather have TCU or Alabama at the 4 seed? I go,
Alabama. Which team has gotten beat by average teams? Not TCU. They got beat by a top 10 team. Which team got beat by a 4-loss LSU team?
oh no.
Okay. So what had happened was Alabama's not good this year,
That's it.
and I'd love to play them and remind them of that.
I would love nothing more.
But I guess I'll just have to let Kansas State beat the crap out of Alabama in the Sugar Bowl because
gosh, that's so good.
hold on. They're going to do that. They're
so
going to do that.
Oh, that's so good. They already have 6 players in the portal, Daniel.
That's-
already leaving. Jermaine Burton has already called in to Georgia. His call has gone
Oh, we're straight to
unanswered.
voicemail. Straight to voicemail. No, you just look at that thing and go, nope.
No, we fine.
Nope.
Okay, let's talk about these running backs. These running backs were on point. My turn,
Okay.
Daniel.
Okay. Let's get in there. Let's get
Kendall
in.
Milton. You were not healthy for the majority of this season. You are healthy now.
Yeah, yes.
And my
What does he do when he's healthy?
goodness, when he's healthy, Daniel, he is rolling. This guy is rolling. He is strong. He is fast. He knows how to read the play. And
He does.
And that's the thing I was waiting on. And clearly when he was injured, he was trying to manufacture too much. Now that he is confident.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
that he is confident, he doesn't have to manufacture anything, and he's going where the play is called, and he could read it well. His eyes and his legs are in sync. Before, his eyes and his leg weren't in sync because his legs weren't healthy. Now they are, and this man is a problem, Daniel.
I really believe the injury forced him, and I think it's what you just said, to try to be somebody he wasn't.
Yeah.
He tried to be too twitchy. Kendall Milton, not a twitchy running back.
Don't do
He's
that,
not
Kendall.
a jump cut running back. He is a running back. Now he can get outside on you, and he's got speed. Don't hear me saying what I'm not saying.
Thunder and lightning, Daniel. Thunder
But
and
he's
lightning.
not. Nope, I didn't say that. Positive vibes only. Kendall Milton is an elite runner of the football.
Yes.
And he is a big-time asset to this team, and he's only going to get healthier over
So
this next
we have
month.
28 days. Again, 28 days.
You love
Our
to see
offensive
that.
line is gelled. Our running backs are all healthy, and they are
And
gelled.
getting healthier. Yep.
They are getting healthier. Stetson just had the best game of the entire year on the
It's
biggest
almost as if-
stage. Tell me
Hold
more.
on. Now, those last two things you just said, it's almost as if they're blended together there, where I was told Stetson could not win on the big stage.
Interesting, Daniel.
It seems like Stetson has won on every big stage.
You name the stage, he's won it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what about regular season games against Alabama? I guess he's not won that, but
We were probably running scared. We
we were
schedule
talking
them.
about big stages. I'm sorry, I forgot. Alabama plays regular season games.
Yeah,
We
do
play
you realize-
postseason games.
Really quick, a number of years ago when we started this pod, we went to Alabama. Georgia went to Alabama, not Daniel and I, but Georgia went to Alabama and got absolutely ran out of the building.
Yeah.
And we were talking about going to that game, and we had trepidation. We were like, I don't know. Oh man, that's a big risk to go out there. I don't want to do the walk of shame out of that stadium. That'd be really hard. Today, Buy me that ticket.
Listen, USC
in an
loses and Ohio State steps into the playoff. Am I scared of Ohio State? Absolutely not. People talking about Alabama coming and getting in the playoff. Please let Alabama into the play. Please let Alabama into the playoff. TCU loses, maybe they fall to 4. Am I scared of that game? Absolutely, I'm not scared of that game.
Because we have a run game that, again, single-handedly, we could just run it down everybody's throat on the remaining schedule, and we might win 13-10. We would still win.
Well, we wouldn't be. People wouldn't talk about us as one of the greatest college football teams of all time.
Sure.
I don't know if you know,
Sure.
but
I
we're not
don't
2022
care.
Tennessee. We're
Yeah.
not that.
No,
we're not an elite
That's a
team.
historic team. Daniel, they have, by the way, they're so historic. They knew the run they were going to have. They preemptively threw artifacts for other civilizations to find in the rivers when the drought
That is
came.
correct. That
They
is
were-
correct. They will unearth that artifact and they will say, this is the goalpost of a team that we believe went 10-2 and lost and gave up 63 points to South Carolina. This is who we
Now,
believe
that's
put
a
this
national
goalpost.
treasure I want to see produced. Can we produce
Get me
that
Nick
movie?
Cage. Get me Nick Cage right now.
Ben Dukes is leading that thing. I don't
Make
care.
this thing. Give me Ben Dukes starring as Nick Cage, starring as. Yeah. It's the only cameo of a living actor. It's a movie about making a movie about digging up the goalposts 70 years into the
Loyal
future.
third segment listeners, we love you guys.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay.
All right. Listen, Georgia's the SEC champions. People love the banter, and we're the number 1 seed in the playoff. These are the only 3 things I know for sure are true. We're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to have a reaction show. We're going to post that. We might as well just post that on Sunday night, Clint.
We're posting that Sunday night.
All right, so we're going to record it at some point on Sunday evening. It'll come out at some point Sunday night. We'll have a reaction to the rankings. We'll talk about Georgia's first opponent in the college football playoff, which will not be Alabama, but I hope it is. And then we will be back for the rest of the week. Shows continuing to break down this SEC championship game and look forward to the playoff. Guys, if you're still listening, go subscribe to the audio.
Get on the audio side. Help your boys out.
Help us out. Subscribe to the audio. Make sure it's downloading to your phone. All of that. We really appreciate it. And we will be back tomorrow night to talk about the college football playoff. And we'll see y'all then.
See ya.